good day to brew, baby. What is up, YouTube? It's what Millsy, back at the hometown commander, back for another episode of Millsy Brews, the show where I brew my version 1.0 deck list with a commander in front of us and my quest to brew the magic world. As always, that deck list is going to be down in the description for you below. As well as I'd really appreciate it if you could interact with the video, like, comment, subscribe, consider becoming a member of the channel to get all of the videos early, as well as checking out the links in the description below. Today we're taking a commander that I have brewed for the channel before, but we're doing it a little bit differently. The first time that I looked at a room enchantment, the first thought I had was, okay, so rooms work just like split spells, right? Split spells that are on a split card, where this mana value of the spell is considered to be both halves of the card. So the first question I had was, well, if I have a room on the battlefield, if I have both rooms unlocked, what's the mana value of that permanent? And the answer was the total mana value of the two rooms put together. And the first commander that came to mind for me was Zur, Eternal Schemer. This is an Esper flying human wizard. It says enchantment creatures you control have Death Touch, Lifelink, and Hexproof. And for 2 mana, you can turn a non-aura enchantment you control into a creature, and its base power and toughness are equal to its mana value. And to me, that just clicked, right? Let's say I have a room that has 3 mana value on one side and 4 mana value on the other side. That's now a 7/7 with Death Touch, Lifelink, and Hexproof. And now I can leverage these rooms that I already want to be collecting for different purposes and different enchantment reasons and turn them into creatures. Zur already does this with other enchantments, and you're going to notice that this is an enchantment deck through and through. We have other support enchantments to do that, but this feels like a great deck to work the rooms into, because we don't mind having some mediocre rooms because they're just going to turn into good creatures once we animate them with Zur. So we're going to open up rooms, right? Try to get them fully unlocked if we can and animate them with Zur. We're going to talk about some cards that care about rooms and why rooms matter. We'll talk about the usual enchantment stuff, why we really care about that. And then the nice part is, because they all get lifelink, we can actually pay the life gain off with some both enchantments and just life gain matter type cards that are going to make Zur even better. Because to me, the first thing I think of is something like Sanguine Bond, right? For our opponents to lose life whenever we gain life, just making that life link even better. Well, as far as the rooms go, right, this is the new thing. This is the reason why we're building the deck. Just to clarify, if only one side of the room is unlocked, then the mana value is just that side. Once both open up, that's your total mana value. I think the real room that matters for the purposes of this deck is Central Elevator and Promising Stairs there in the middle. Central Elevator says when you unlock this room, you can search your library for a room card that doesn't have the same name as a room you control. Reveal it, put it into your hand, then shuffle. So wait for us to go get another room. And then Promising Stairs, the real reason why we want to care about rooms at all in this deck, at the beginning of your upkeep, we can surveil 1. You win the game if there are 8 or more different names among unlocked doors of rooms you control. So we need to fully unlock 4 rooms in order for Promising Stairs to win us the game. That is one way we can win the game. I think more often what's going to happen with Zur is just animating these things and dealing a ton of damage and gaining a ton of life. I'm not going to read every room, because there's a lot of really interesting rooms, and there's also a lot of filler rooms, right? Some of the uncommons from the set that we're playing in here literally just because they're rooms. We're trying to play as many of the, I believe it's 17 legal ones we can have in this color. I think we're playing like 14 of them, so we're playing a very good amount of them still. Dollmaker's Shop Porcelain Gallery is one of my favorites of all the rooms. On the Dollmaker's Shop side, whenever you attack with one or more non-toy creatures, you get to make a toy creature token. That's just nice to help fill your board up to block. But Porcelain Gallery is the fun one. Creatures you control have base power and toughness equal to the number of creatures you control. So this will override Zur's ability if it comes down after it, but could turn these enchantments into just huge things. And same thing with all the tokens we make and all that. I love Porcelain Gallery. It's a card that if you can set it up, becomes really helpful to your board. Lecture Hall and Restricted Office is pretty nice. When you unlock the Restricted Office, you can destroy all creatures of power 3 or greater. But on the Lecture Hall side, all your permanents have Hexproof, which is pretty cool as well. And then I like Secret Arcade and Dusty Parlor. On the Secret Arcade side, all non-land permanents we control and permanent spells the spells we control as well are enchantments. This turns on a lot of synergies for our deck. And then Dusty Parlor, whenever we cast an enchantment, we can put counters on a creature equal to the mana value of that enchantment spell. It's just a way to really take advantage of stuff. Funnily enough, Secret Arcade is a fun near infinite combo with Ondu Spirit Dancer, a card we're going to talk about in a little bit, and I'll point that out when we get there. But as far as rooms matters go, there are new cards in the set that have a text called Eerie, which is like Constellation, except it just adds whenever you fully unlock a room as well. So all these cards are effectively Constellation cards. They just add on the unlocking a room. So Entity Tracker says whenever an enchantment comes in under our controller, whenever we fully unlock a room, draw a card. Ghostly Dancer says whenever we do that, we get a 3/1 spirit. And then Inquisitive Glimmer actually reduces all of our enchantments and allows us to unlock rooms for a little bit cheaper. So that's pretty cool as well. As far as enchantments matters go, there's a lot of both enchantment creatures that are already going to get the buff from Zur, and then creatures that care about enchantments. We're going to play Amanatu from the precon because it's just going to reduce the cost of those first enchantment. You know, that first card, if it's an enchantment, it's going to reduce the cost of it, make it easier for us to cast. Archon of Sun's Grace will start accumulating an army of Pegasi as we have enchantments come in. And they have lifelink, right, which adds into our kind of life gain theme here. Demon of Fate's design works really well with this life gain plan because once during each of our turns we can cast an enchantment by paying life equal to its mana value rather than its cost. Meaning that if we run out of mana, we can just pay some life, right, as well to get an extra thing down. And that's an ability that can be really good, especially when you think about it. This then becomes, with Zur out, a Death Touch lifelinking 6/6 flying trample that all we need to do is gain a little bit of life, and then we can play anything we want. Undo Spirit Dancer is the card I mentioned back when we talked about Secret Arcade, because it says whenever an enchantment comes in, you may create a copy of it, but you can do it only once per turn. So Secret Arcade actually turns Undo Spirit Dancer into an enchantment, meaning that it'll continue to make copies of itself as long as you want it to, because each copy can turn a copy of, can make a copy of itself only once, and you can keep going as long as you want to, making a ton of them if you want to. It's not the most useful combo unless you pair it with something else, but it's just fun to know that it exists. Doomwake Giant, whenever it or another enchantment comes in, creatures our opponent's control get -1/-1 until end of turn. This is a good payoff for that. One-sided board wipe for our opponent's boards. Soaring Lightbringer gives all of our enchantment creatures flying. Now adding that to the soup that Zur gives us. And then whenever we attack a player, we also get a Glimmer enchantment token, a 1/1 in the air, right, because of it. So not a bad thing for 5. It is an enchantment, so it will have lifelink, right, but it does get us some more bodies as well. We're playing the classic combination of All That Glitters and Ethereal Armor to either make Zur bigger and threaten commander damage if we have so many enchantments out, but also just to make other creatures scary as they grow +1/+1 for each enchantment we control on either. Boon of the Spirit Realm is a card I've always enjoyed. Whenever it or another enchantment comes in, you put a blessing counter on it, and creatures get a buff for each blessing counter on it, just really growing your board. And this can also make that lifelink brutal for our opponents as we just gain a ton of life and hopefully stay alive to just push ourselves in. Had to play that beautiful new art of Hallowed Haunting. Whenever you cast an enchantment spell, we create a white spirit cleric creature token where its power and toughness is equal to the number of spirits we control. Remember, there are other things in the deck that make spirits, so this works out well. And as long as you have 7 or more enchantments, all creatures we control have flying and vigilance. So again, a way to go wide and get great value. Michiko's Reign of Truth is a card I love in my enchantment deck. So on the 1 and 2 lore counters of the saga, you give a creature a +1/+1 for each artifact or enchantment, and or enchantment you control. So a mini All That Glitters, right, Ethereal Armor style effect. And then on the 3rd lore corner, you flip it over into a enchantment creature that's a star, where star is the number of enchantments you control. So it turns into a great creature on the backside that Zur will give Death Touch and Hexproof and Lifelink. Sigil of the Empty Throne, whenever we cast an enchantment spell, we make a 4/4 angel. Again, just a great way to get some power on the board as we're casting these enchantments and as we're building up our board state. Well, as far as the life gain goes, I think the 2 obvious cards to think of are Sanguine Bond, right? Whenever we gain life, target opponent loses that much life, a way to just immediately pay off that life gain. The really cool part is Duskmourn just brought us a second copy of that card, and Enduring Tenacity. Whenever you gain life, target opponent loses that much life. And the nice part about the Tenacity is when it dies, if it was a creature, which it is, right, it comes back as an enchantment. And here's the really fun thing is if it comes back as an enchantment and I animate it again with Zur, if it dies, it will come back again. That's the really nice thing about these enduring enchantments from Duskmourn and why we are paying this one and the blue one that draws us cards when we hit. our opponents. And then, of course, Heliod Suncrown makes a ton of sense. Whenever you gain life, you're putting counters on creatures or enchantments. You can give a creature lifelink. I love Heliod. It works so well for what we're trying to do here. But I've said it before on the show, and I'll say it again. No deck's ever complete. This is our version 1.0 shot at it, and as we bring rooms into the deck, I'm sure there's some interactions we're not going to know about ahead of time. And as we're testing, we can learn a lot. As far as cards I would target when I'm testing, I'm really not entirely sure. I just picked cards I think would be still really good in the deck that I cut just because I needed the slot for something else. Erebos makes a ton of sense. Your opponents can't gain life, and you can pay life to draw cards. It just makes sense to me. You now could pay the extra life that you're gaining with Zur to draw cards and churn through your deck. Luminarch Ascension is a card I just really love. As long as you go 4 of your opponent's turns without losing life with this out, you're going to get counters on it, and then you can just make 4/4 angels for 2 mana. This just feels like a great card when we're trying to get our game plan going and need some ways to protect ourselves, and you can go on the offensive with those angels. And then Stony Silence. We are playing artifacts because we are an Esper. We need ways to ramp. But if we ever wanted to up our land count a little bit, or we're okay with just losing the ability to use our mana rocks, Stony Silence could just help shut down our opponents by not allowing them to activate their artifacts and pushing our enchantment game plan forward. This deck isn't as good as something like Sithis or Calyx at using Stony Silence because those decks are both based in green where you can ramp through enchantments and other things. We're not in the perfect colors to do that, so Stony Silence can be kind of a double-edged sword because it can hurt us too. But if it hurts your opponent more than it hurts us, I think it's worth taking a shot at. Let's get into our playtest. Let's see what we can do and have some fun with Zur. Keeping a 4-lander with Doomwake Giant, a card I didn't mention in the slides, but is really good for Zur's Training Grounds. Training Grounds will effectively bring Zur's bottom ability down to just 1 white mana to animate enchantments, and then Ghostly Dancer. So, not a bad hand. We've got the ability to get Zur down on 3 and start working our way up the chain. Well, turn 1, we draw Enduring Tenacity. All right, well, we're certainly on our way. I think I would just go ahead and crack this Contaminated Landscape. Let's see, blue. Think. Well, that I have to have plains. See, my obvious choice was going to be an island, but does it have to be a swamp? We need another black source, right? That'll make Glacial Fortress have to come in untapped tapped, unfortunately. But I think we're okay with that. Turn 2, we draw Hallowed Haunting. Cool. So we're way on our way. I think I'll just get the Skycloud Expanse down. Just get the Training Grounds down, I think, so that when Zur comes down, we can start using it. There we go. Gloomrake Verge, which can give us that last one that allows us to play Zur here on turn 3, get the party started. Turn 4, we'll play that plane, so this will come in untapped. It's either Tenacity or Hallowed Haunting, and I think I kind of like the Hallowed Haunting this turn to get that started, start making those Spirit Clerics as we race through. Turn 5, love the idea of Doomwake Giant. Love the idea of the Ghostly Dancers as well. Just start making more spirits for the purposes of Hallowed. And of course, Tenacity is great, but I think we're going to spend most of our turn. Well, let's see. If I do Tenacity, I could animate Hallowed Haunting and attack with it, right? So play the Tenacity, make the Spirit Cleric. I think I would animate the Hallowed Haunting with my 1 last mana. Attack with it this turn, gain 4, somebody loses 4, right? Nice part is now they have hexproof once they become creatures with Zur's ability, which helps us kind of protect them on the board. Now we're at 6 mana, right? So I could Doomwake or I could Ghostly Dancers. Let's Doomwake. Gives us another Spirit Cleric. What, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, or 1, 2, 3, 4, 4 enchantments. So we're still a little bit off turning on Hallowed Haunting, but -1/-1 here to our opponent's boards. I could animate the Training Grounds, but it becomes a 1/1, which makes me not really want to animate it, right? Spirits are now 2/2s. Take an attack with the the Hallowed Haunting and the Tenacity. and gain some life, deal some damage back. Turn 7, we'll play that Caves of Koilos. Oh, do we have 2 basic lands? Sorry, that just comes in tap no matter what. There we go. We see the Unenduring Curiosity. Draws us a card when a creature deals damage to a player. I think I'll do that. Get another Spirit Cleric. I've got 3 mana left. I'm still, what? Like 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Still 2 creature or 2 enchantments off of the flying with Hallowed Haunting, but that's another -1/-1 for our opponent's boards. And now we attack with these 3 this turn, right? We're going to end up inevitably gaining life, but we have at least 1 or 2 of them are going to deal damage, right? So we're going to draw a couple cards, and then this is just one of the examples of one of those games where we didn't draw any rooms. I mean, the problem with the rooms only having 15 of them is, there are going to be games where you don't see them. It's kind of brutal when the deck's built around them or tries to use them. But the truth is, it just happens. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 for that. So just getting 2 more enchantments down will basically just give all my creatures flying. So we get Dazzling Theater down. -1/-1 to all of our opponent's creatures. It says that creature spells we control have Convoke. So that's 4 mana. I've got 4 mana left. Play the Oubliette, exile somebody's thing. Now we're at 7, right? So now everything's in the air. These spirits are pretty big. That's -2/-2 total this turn. And we can animate one of these if we want to, but I think we're in a pretty good state here. We've got pretty good board control. If somebody wipes the board, both our Endurings come back as their regular enchantments. We play Zur again and keep, animate them again. And I think we're in a good spot because, yeah, Hallowed Haunting could die to a board wipe here, but I think we're still okay with it. We still get enough value, even if it does. We'll go to playtest number 2, keeping a 3/4 lander with Cramped Vents. Whenever you unlock this door, 6 damage to a creature opponent controls. You gain life equal to the excess damage. And then the Maze side, which is the side we care about. Once during each of your turns, you may cast a spell from your hand by paying life rather than its mana cost. Sheltered by Ghosts, a fun one from Duskmourn, comes in, exiles a non-land permanent for as long as it's out, and gives the creature lifelink and ward 2. Really good on Zur to protect it from its buff that it gives all our creatures. Dawn Truce for a little bit of protection. But we'll get that Rafine's Tower in turn 1. Ooh, turn 2, we see Dollmaker's Shop. I think that makes the most sense here on turn 2. There's no way for me to do the rooms on Moxfield. You get that little room token in the packs when you buy them. I have no way to do it, so it's just Dollmaker's Shop that's going to be unlocked there. Here we see Restricted Office. Okay, I think we just get Zur down. Next turn we can potentially look to get some more value down. Turn 4, we see Grave Pact. Grave Pact is an interesting card in here because then our opponents really have to worry about killing our things. I mean, I could Restricted Office, but I don't know how much good it actually does me. I can get the Cramped Vents down, potentially dealing some damage. I kind of like the Grave Pact right now. Force our opponents to think twice about killing some of our things. Zur will attack and get us a toy. I'm sure we can get a decent attack here for 1 in the air in turn 4. Turn 5, we're up to 5 mana now. We're just 1 mana off something like Extravagant Replication, which makes a copy of a non-land permanent. Love that card. If somebody has something I really want to get rid of, we could Shelter by Ghosts here. But otherwise, I think I would just play the Restricted Office to destroy all creatures with power 3 or greater, attack with Zur again, get another toy, and just keep working our way towards value here. Turn 6 was really, really hoping for that 6 land, but that's a-okay. Oubliette could be fun to get rid of something if we want to. Otherwise, I'm kind of thinking about like playing the Shelter with Ghosts on Zur, take somebody something, animate the Grave Pact, and make a toy or 2, right? Get in for some damage. Ugh. Here we can do the Derelict Attic for 3 mana, draw 2 and lose 2 life. There we go, there's another land, so we could play the Extravagant next turn. That was just 3 mana, so we do have the 2 mana left to animate like the Restricted Office. That's a 4, take some attacks this turn. make a couple toys. And then next turn, like, we could turn on the Dolmate Porcelain Gallery and turn all of our creatures into 9/9s if we wanted to. I mean, now's where the rooms really come in handy, because then you can really take advantage of these abilities we have going for us. So here on turn 8, I mean, it's either extravagant or just turn on Porcelain Gallery and make all of these into 9/9s and just swing. I think that's what I'd probably do. I'd just turn on the Porcelain Gallery, and now these guys are going to hit pretty darn hard. But what do you think of Zur? This is a deck that, again, I think Zur is a fun commander on its own. I think it's probably better without the rooms, to be 100% honest, but it's fun to see what it could do with the rooms, taking advantage of the way that their mana value works and making them into creatures. It's a deck that seems fun to me. Zur's always been the commander I think I would build if I didn't have a Layla. Layla kind of has my heart when it comes to Esper enchantments, but I like Zur a ton. Zur plays a role in that deck a little bit because it can turn your enchantments into creatures for more damage. But what do you think of Zur? Do you have a Zur deck? Are you going to try rooms out at all? I'd love to hear what you think down in the comment section below, and I will catch you guys next time.